Welcome back to AutoCrit's Coffee Break. My name is Bekah Brinkmeier, your host. I am a best-selling romance author coach here at AutoCrit, and wearer of many writing-related hats. One of my favorite hats is getting to sit down with our AutoCrit Pro community and just find out what y'all are up to, because everyone's up to something fascinating and fun. Today, I am sitting down with Diane, and Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's so wonderful to get to know you today. And to get us started, I would absolutely love it if you wanted to tell our audience a little bit about who you are as an author, what inspires you, what do you love about storytelling, and for good measure, let's throw in what genre you write in.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Becca. I am a late blooming author. I've been trying to write books for a long, long time, but when I finally retired a few years ago, I then had the time and the wherewithal to be able to do it. My genre is historical fiction, and that drives straight from researching my family history. I'm an amateur genealogist. I've gotten my family back to Europe, 15th, 16th German. And in the process, I've discovered some pretty interesting stories that I wanted to tell. And the reason to tell them was that I thought others in the same situations, ordinary people doing extraordinary things is the way I kind of think about it when it comes to historical fiction, talk about my family, because my family is boring, is no different than any other family in the rest of the world. But lots of folks went through the same kinds of things. Like my current book that's out is called Maddie's Vow. It's a 14-year-old girl who takes responsibility for protecting her family while her father's off in the war. And her mother gets ill, and so lots of fun ensues. And that's all based on true story, family history, deep research, and just trying to get the characters to work together. My difficulty with telling historical fiction is, as a genealogist, you're very fact focused. This happened at this time, at this place, to these people. And what's difficult is you can't tell, you don't know what really happened.
Right.
People were born and they died and all that stuff. But the part about writing historical fiction that's been difficult for me, but also fascinating, is coming up with the wrapper of the people, who they were, what they experienced, how they felt, the pain that they went through, their experiences, and how it shaped the rest of their lives. So that's kind of me and where I'm at. I tell stories again about ordinary people who I think do pretty extraordinary things during pretty difficult times, like the Civil War, and another one I've got coming up that takes place right after World War I.
Oh, wow. So you are not putting yourself into just one historical era. You are spanning different time periods. That's awesome.
Yeah. The thing with Maddie's Vow, it's going to be a sequel, and I'm working on that one now while I'm waiting for beta feedback on the other one. It's called The Dictograph Case. It is a true, again, historical fact that took place in my hometown. There was a huge upsetting moment for me when I came across this story in the newspapers about how German people were treated during World War II, World War One. And just horrible things happened, and I couldn't believe it was allowed to happen. And because of that, I created a story out of it. It's not really my family, but it happened in my hometown. And through that, I've got an investigative reporter who's doing some clues, doing some search on his own, and then a history teacher doing some search on her own, that are tied together by this dictograph that was used to spy on people in their homes. And it was perfectly legal in 1918. So it's fascinating in that respect that we've come such a long way. And yet again, when you think about the world and where we are now, there's a lot of reflections that you can make based on what happened then. And
yeah, that sounds, I love the power behind those themes that as we can watch and relate. One of my favorite, I don't write historical fiction, but I do read quite a bit of it. And that is one of my favorite parts, is when you get lost in this story and you sometimes see those parallels that are coming through and you're like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to be in 1912.
yeah.
But it's 2025 and some things, technology has changed, but people haven't in some of these behaviors and different historical, I'll call them elements.
Yes, that's a good
of
way to put it
yeah,
without going all the way down the rabbit
yeah,
hole.
well, let's just call it elements. So, one of the things that when I work with historical fiction authors that people tell me that they get bogged down with is number one, research, because sometimes it's hard to turn off our research brains because we need to know every detail of everything. But the other one is editing, because once you've put together this complex, meaty, beautiful story that has all of this history in it, and you've packed it in, you've created these avatars and these characters that feel real, like you are immersive in that. How the heck do you edit that down? And that is a question that I get frequently. So I would like to ask you if you maybe have a tip for fellow historical fiction authors about how you approach the editing process.
Um, it's a great question, and it is difficult. Maddie's Vow started out at 130,000 words, and historical
Okay.
fiction, getting it down below 100 was kind of the norm. So that's where I
Hmm.
was working towards. So I had you had to take a pretty good scalpel at it and ensuring that the scene or whatever was in there was really added to the story. That it
Hmm.
wasn't just there for the sake of a historical fact. Again, facts are great. Like I had this one piece in there about a battle, and Maddie was not at the battle, but she told about the battle later. And then I thought, well, why don't I have the guy tell it and do it when he comes home? So
Hmm.
historical fiction, you're right, is difficult to edit. The dictograph case, on the other hand, was much easier, had a more straightforward process in getting through it. It's a dual point of view that goes back and forth in present tense to keep the thrill of it going. And for that, I just had to make sure that, for me, since it was going back and forth between points of view, is to make sure that they meshed and that they came together at the right time because they end up researching together and investigating together. So there was quite a few scalpels that go
Yeah.
into that, but I use AutoCrit a lot. So what I do, I get my story in an outline. I use the blueprint process just to get
Hmm.
that done, and then I start writing in Scrivener, and then from there I pull it out and I throw it into AutoCrit, and I look at, first of all, the developmental editing. Take a look at where are their hits and misses. And there's another girl on your staff that's done a few things on Saturdays that are quite good in terms of helping people edit from the big picture down to the line editing and even the blurbs that I really have learned a lot from. So developmental editing is the first thing. It's a science and an art, Becca.
It is.
It's really tough when you see you're cutting your pretty lines.
Hmm.
Oh, I like that line. I'm going to leave that in there. So I hope that answers your question, but that's kind of the way that
Does.
I approach it.
It does. I've written so many books over the last 15 years. I am a full-time writer. This is what I do, and I ghostwrite a lot. And that is one of the things I talk
Uh,
to a lot with my clients is that not everything gets to stay. Sometimes we pull it out, and I don't actually delete very much. I have a slush pile for each book, and I will, especially if I like that paragraph, like, wow, that was snaps to me for writing something awesome, but it doesn't fit anymore, or it's
mhm.
bogging down the plot. Then I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to go put it in my slush pile, and I'm
Yeah.
going to continue my rather vicious editing
Yeah.
style.
I keep one copy of every draft. So I do draft
Yeah.
one and then I start draft two, which is a copy of draft one, and then I
Mm.
revise there. And sometimes it's cut, sometimes it's add, then three, then four. Right now on the Digigraph case, I'm up to draft five and it's out for beta
Yep.
read, and things are supposed to be coming back this week. So I'm excited and scared to death all at
I
the
bet it'll
same
be great.
time. Oh, I hope so. It feels good. So keeping a copy of everything, you kind of, oh, what happened back then? Maybe I can pull
Mm.
that in. Or you're right, keep that over there because it could be used at a later time.
Yeah, it could be used for marketing copy. It could be used for
Yep.
spin-offs. It could be used just perhaps in a different book because sometimes you can just repurpose some of those words for a different book. I tend to have a pretty good memory of when I write in a series of what I've written previously. So being able to like, oh wait, I did do something where they had a dog as a sidekick or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that's fantastic. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, Diane. I would love it if you could sell your book to me, to our audience. Tell us why we need to make this our next purchase next time we go to the bookstore.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the one that's coming up. It's historical thriller meets investigative journalism. a fellows history teacher and a journalist, and covered buried crimes in the World War II anti-German hysteria, inspired by real family events and loosely based on the town where I came from. The themes are justice through exposure, the cost of silence, and the big one here is how patriotism can be weaponized by law. So that has been a big driver for me. Like we have Olivia, a teacher, and Michael, a journalist, both wrestling with complicity and their own personal truths. And it really comes down to what happens in a community when a neighbor decides another neighbor is your enemy because someone in power told you so.
Wow, Diane, that is first of all, fantastic pitch. You have nailed this, and I can see how important this book is from you, the author. Like you feels like this feels very personal in how you are telling this story, and I can hear that in your voice when you pitch it. This is fabulous. I would love to know, is it available for pre-order somewhere? Is it going to be wide? Are you Amazon exclusive? How do we get our hands on this important?
It will be available on Amazon to start in
Okay.
ebook and print and Kindle Unlimited.
Fantastic. Now, do you have a website that people can contact you at, or are you on social media? So where can people follow your work?
Best place would be on my Substack. It's Diane Wahn Shotton. Substack.com. I'm also on Facebook, but if you go to Substack, that's pretty much where I'm trying to focus all my energies these days. But I do advertise on Facebook for Maddie's Vow. So if you happen to see Maddie's Vow come up, pretty little 14-year-old girl with a Civil War background, and she's available for purchase right now.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today for this coffee break. I so enjoyed chatting with you about your work, and I just want to thank you for sharing your insights with our audience.
Oh, thanks for asking. It's always great when you get to talk about your work and with somebody who has no clue. So.
Absolutely. Well, to everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't written your words yet, consider this a very friendly reminder that you do need to write today. And I will see you at the next one. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, Bekah. Bye-bye.